Hello students, now in this session I will explain question number 14 and 15 of exercise 10.1 chapter 10 mensuration. Now let's see what we have in question number 14. We have find the cost of fencing a rectangular park of length 175 centimeter and breadth 125 meter at the rate of rupees 12 per meter. Okay, so first of all let me draw one rectangle for all of you. So this is a rectangle, and we know that in rectangle the opposite sides are equal, isn't it? Now the length is given, just a minute, the length is given 175 meter and breadth is given 125 meter. Okay, so now we have to fence this entire rectangular park, isn't it? That means we have to fence around the boundaries, isn't it? So we have to see what is the total length of the boundary. So to get the value, to get the total length of the boundary, what we have to find out? We have to find out the perimeter of our rectangular park. So now let's go to the next page. So we'll write perimeter of rectangular park, and that will equals to 2 length plus breadth, isn't it? Now what is the value of length given, students? The value of length is given 175 plus 125, isn't it? Now first of all we know that we have to solve the bracket. So if we add 175 plus 125 we'll get 300, isn't it? So 300, and the unit we'll use is meter. So we'll multiply this 2 into 300, so that will become 600 meter. Okay, so now we are aware of the total length of the rectangular park, that is outer the boundary length. Okay, so now we have to find the cost. In the question it is given the cost of per meter is given 12 meter, that is the cost of 1 meter. But what is the total length we have to fence? That is 600 meter, isn't it? So now let's go to the next page. So we'll write it that the cost of fencing, would be equals to, that is the cost of 1 meter is what? 12 meter. And what is the total length we have to fence? 600 meter. So if the cost of 1 meter is 12, so what will the cost of 600 meter? It will be more. So what we have to do? We have to multiply 12 with 600. Fine. Now in that way we'll get the final price, that is 7200. Fine. So this would be the total cost for fencing the rectangular park with length 175 centimeter and breadth 125 meter. Okay, now let's move on to question number 15, students. So here I will write question number 15. Now 15 is also very easy. You see, Sweetie runs around a square park of side 75 meter and Bulbul runs around a rectangular park with a length 60 meter and breadth 45 meter. Who covers the less distance? Okay, now let's start with Sweetie. Let's start with Sweetie first. Okay, now Sweetie runs around the boundary of a square, isn't it? Let me draw you one square then. So this is a square. Fine, and in square we know that all the sides are equal, isn't it? Now what is the length of each side of a square? So each side of square is what? Just a minute, students. Okay, so all the sides are equal. Now side is given according to the question. Side is given 75 meter. Okay, Now, as because Sweetie is running around the boundary of the square, so to get the distance covered by Sweetie, we have to find out the perimeter of a square. Okay, so therefore distance covered by Sweetie would be equals to perimeter of a square. Okay, just a minute. It will be perimeter of a square. Okay, now let's move on to the next page. Now, so perimeter of a square is what? 4 into side, isn't it? We know the formula. So 4 into side is what? What is the measure of each side? That is 75 meter, absolutely. And if you multiply this 4 into 75, we'll get the answer as 300 meters. So Sweetie is traveling a distance of 300 meters. Now let's talk about Bulbul. Now let's talk about, just a minute, Bulbul. Okay. Now Bulbul is running along a boundary of a rectangle, isn't it? Now length is given what? The length is given 60 meter. So we'll write length is given 60 meter and breadth is given 45 meter. Fine. So Bulbul is running along the boundary of the rectangular park. Now let's see what is the distance covered by Bulbul. Okay. So distance covered by Bulbul, and this would be equals to the perimeter of a rectangle. The perimeter of a rectangle. Okay, and what is the formula of perimeter of a rectangle? That is 2 into length plus breadth, isn't it? So now 2 into what will we write? 60 plus 45, isn't it? That is 60 plus 45, and that would be equals to what? 2 into 105 meter, and if you multiply it, then you will see the answer will come as 210 meter. Okay, so Sweetie is covering 300 meter and Bulbul is covering only 210 meter. So who is covering the less the distance? So we'll write it down. Hence Bulbul covers the less distance. That's it, students. Okay, so this is the final conclusion of the sum. So thank you for this session. Stay blessed and take care.